and go to the shop. So guys, tonight, tetanus is gonna get a little bit lower, and I'm gonna show you how I did it. I bought extra keys, but I haven't used them, and this thing's dropped, I guarantee you, a good 2 inches. So stay tuned, show you how I got those fenders pushed out and flared. Got a little more massage work to make them look just right. Truck's sitting down and the stance is there. Check it out. All right, so finally getting back to this, and this thing I'm pushing way out here, okay? I'm doing everything I can to keep from having to split this, and I'm really worried that we're getting down to a point where I'm just about gonna have to start splitting this in a few spots and allow it to bend out and then put some fillers back in it. I really don't want to do that because I don't want to weld on this. And I know it doesn't make any sense not to do that because look at the body, but I really want this thing to look like it was pulled out of the field and just, so when you start seeing things like that, even though majority of people would not even think twice about it, you know, it just one of those things. Here I am right now. I've got the porta power kind of just shoved in here, just holding it where it's at. It still needs to come out a little further. Again, what it comes down to is the simple fact that I've got these and one single there. Now my best way to kind of hold this into place is quite simply, one, I can get pretty close right there. Quick cage welded up. Nothing special here, just a 1/4 inch round bar. You saw me earlier, I bent this into position. Now I've got 4 pieces that are kind of give me a little bit of framework that I can tie back into the fender itself and hold this thing, give it some rigidity. So once I start putting some forces on this suspension, possibly drop it about 1 inch, you'll start to see this thing sort of hold out there, not rubbing the wheel like it was before. But big thing is right now, get this back up in here, clean off my spots, push it out, and see if it's got a good permanent structure sitting at the height it is now, and then when I lower it, I'll start fine-tuning things. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put something in here. It's still a little warm. That's good. Position. That's not bad. All right, now I am not going to weld it to this lip just yet. A few reasons for that. One, there might be a little bit of movement. I might have to cut something loose and allow it to move. Once I get it exactly the way I want it and get this curve smoothed out, because I don't like these little lumps, you know, I can kind of hammer things into place. Then I can put some weld on the back side and lock everything where it's at. Not a professional at any of this, but I can tell you now, I can move stuff around enough to make it work. So, first idea. One, know where I'm going to weld to, so go ahead and get some rust cleaned off this thing so that whenever I start to weld, I've got good clean metal behind me. So if there's one thing I can tell you guys, make sure you go check out my merchandise store on Bonfire. Get these, a couple other designs. I'm adding more all the time. Keep an eye on it. some really cool shit there. Here we go. So what I'm going to do first thing is go ahead and get this back up in here. Just like so. There we go. Alright. Now, all I want to do first thing is get a good pack on each one of these. At least this one and then let it off, and then see what we got to do for the others. Alright, so you can see I've got my skeleton tacked in. That's enough to hold it where it's at. Of course, these will have to be straightened out once I get it exactly where it needs to be. Again, probably going to need a little more massaging to get it exactly right. Be about where it needs to be. We need to push those down. But again, this is the important part. Now, what I'm about to do is I am going to go ahead and adjust these torsion bars to let this be as low as I can possibly get it with the keys that are currently in it. Then set it on the ground and we're going to see what all this cutting and beating, banging, pushing with the thing looks like. So, wish me a little luck on this one. If this works out, we're going to move to the back, go ahead and drop that 3 inches, and we're going to get that bed at the height we need it. See if we can get this truck sitting just like I want it. So just a quick once over what I'm doing. See, I've got a bolt on each side, and it looks like I've got about an inch or so. So I'm going to back those keys until they're almost against this. We're going to see how much that lowers it. Alright, so you can kind of see it's quite a bit closer there. I pulled that bolt out, probably got a full inch, maybe inch and a half. I'm sure that'll equate to more. Let me get to the other side and get that one down as well. Oh yeah. See, now that is the stance I'm hoping for, right there. I'm not sure what the rear will end up with. I mean, I did buy 3-inch drop springs. I may have to space those to get them just right, but I think by the time we give it a little tilt to the front of this bed, get this truck sitting level, then level the bed with that 3-inch springs, that might be about right. And I'm a little concerned that loosening those that much, I'll probably take the adjuster all the way out, maybe put some blue Loctite on it, and just to make sure it stays exactly where I want it, because it is pretty close to bottom. Maybe I'm better off to go ahead and put the other keyway so it's a little more threads, a little further up in there. But that is the height. That's it. That's what I see in my head. That right there. So yeah, a little massage of those fenders. To make sure they don't rub and corner in. Work on the rear. So next episode, go ahead and put those rear springs in. That should be a pretty quick, easy one to put in. Of course, before I do that, I'll have to do a little bit of fender work back here. Cut these stiffeners out and push this thing out. But these should be a whole lot easier to manipulate than the front. They're nearly as strong. Hell, I can grab them and move them where I want them. Just about right now. So, I mean, I have to do a little something with that one. But, I mean, you can see I've got a stiffener right there that hadn't been removed yet. And I can get that fender way out there. So, get rid of that stiffener, or not get rid of that stiffener, but replace it or extend it out so that it's pushing where it needs to. And all of a sudden, yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's the stance I'm after, guys. That's it. Oh man, that made a total difference in the front of that truck. Kid you not, this thing went way down. I did not expect that much drop. Now I took those keys almost completely loose. So I mean, they're just barely pushed up over the keeper. I don't know if there's a reason to replace them at this point, since it is such good. What I am considering doing though is putting passive air on this thing. So put air in the front shocks to just kind of take some of that load up whenever I want to drive it. Same in the rear. Put air shocks beside those springs, and that'll take it just up enough to kind of sit it right where I want it to be. Yeah, I really like that. Feels good to make something like this happen tonight. I really needed something good. And this was it.